Shout out to Boxer, Bricky in the house, home of the brave. He alerted me to this in my Facebook group. Canelo Alvarez, ranked number 1 by the WBO at light heavyweight. What on earth is going on there? Now, at first I was thinking, okay, this is the same thing they did with Alexander Usyk. Because Usyk, WBO cruiserweight champion, actually undisputed cruiserweight champion, they gave him mandatory status at heavyweight when he moved up. I was thinking, okay, maybe they're doing the same with Canelo. But then somebody pointed out, Canelo doesn't have the WBO belt at middleweight. That's Demetrius Andrade. And I was like, oh yeah, hang on, what the hell are the WBO doing? Why is Canelo the number 1? What's that all about? Man's never fought at light heavyweight before. All of a sudden, he's fighting Kovalev and they put him in at the number 1 position. Farcical. Obviously, we've seen this kind of thing happen on numerous occasions in boxing. It might have happened in Canelo's career before. There was, God, who was it that stepped up? Yeah, Tyson Fury when he came back from his hiatus. He fought Cephas Eferi and Pianeta. Then he leapfrogged up the WBC rankings when he signed to fight Wilder. And he was like number 1 or number 2 in the WBC rankings just after fighting Pianeta and Cephas Eferi, which was an eyebrow raiser. But at least he'd fought at heavyweight his whole career. At least he was a former champion. Even though he'd never fought for the WBC belt before, at least he was a former heavyweight champion. Canelo's never fought at light heavyweight, doesn't have a WBO belt currently, but somehow is installed as the number 1 challenger at 175 in the WBO. Incredible stuff. Why do they do this? Is it to protect themselves legally from any challenges by, let's say, Ramirez's people or anybody else in the top 5 of the WBO light heavyweight rankings who feels that they should be getting a shot before Canelo gets a shot? Is that what it's all about? I don't know, man. You guys tell me. Just as an aside, it's interesting that Anthony Yarde, who was number 1 with the WBO, has dropped all the way down to number 9 after losing to Sergey Kovalev. Interesting that, isn't it? How can the guy who was number 1 after giving Kovalev a top fight drop all the way down to number 9? How does that even make sense? Well, it makes sense if you realize that he should have never been number 1 in the first place. That's what it makes sense. Why was he number 1? Well, we know for a fact that his promoter, Frank Warren, has had an extremely close relationship with the WBO since its inception. I believe that was in the early 1990s. It seemed as though, I don't know whether this was actually the case, but it certainly seemed in the 1990s that most WBO world title fights were on Frank Warren shows. And there was certainly a disproportionately large number of British fighters fighting for WBO belts in the 90s. So, yeah, anyway, that's an aside. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Just business as usual. The kind of nonsense which goes on, which none of us like, but we've all come to accept as part of the game. Or is this something which we need to highlight more in the hope that we can shame the alphabet organizations into, discontinuing this kind of practice? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And why do they feel this is necessary? Why couldn't they just put Canelo in at number 5 or number 6? Why do they have to put him in at number 1? Is it just for vanity's sake? To appease Team Canelo? Let me know, people. It's happening. I'm out.